What if the weight you carry isn't the burden itself, but the way you have chosen to perceive it? What if the heaviest chains are not forged by fate, but by your own mind? Within you lies a power to transform every obstacle into a foundation, every weight into a source of unparalleled strength. Shoulder the burden, stand unmoved. Stoic Will, Unshakable Core, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. The nature of your burdens. Picture a lone traveler walking an endless road, a heavy pack strapped to their back. With every step, the weight seems to grow, its contents rattling with past regrets, future anxieties, and present struggles. This traveler is you. This traveler is all of us, navigating life with burdens that feel uniquely, crushingly our own. We feel the strain and the exhaustion, convinced that the sheer mass of what we carry is destined to grind us into the dust. This inner conflict, the battle between our desire to move forward and the overwhelming urge to collapse, defines much of our existence. The problem is not that we have burdens. It is that we fundamentally misunderstand their nature. We treat them as solid, unchangeable objects of misfortune forced upon us. We see our difficult job, our financial worries, or our health issues as blocks of granite dropped into our pack without our consent. This perspective turns us into victims, powerless figures who can only lament the weight. We waste immeasurable energy complaining about the load and dreaming of the day it will magically disappear. This passive resistance, this mental friction against what is the true source of our suffering. It is not the burden that breaks us, but the friction of our resistance against it. The transformative solution lies in a radical shift of perception. You must learn to see your burdens not as dead weight, but as raw material. Imagine a master sculptor who is given a rough, jagged stone. A novice would complain about its flaws, but the master sees potential. The master understands that within this raw mass lies the possibility of a masterpiece. The core idea is that life does not give us finished products, it gives us ore. Your burdens, your challenges, your pains, your responsibilities are the unrefined ore of your character. They are meant to be actively forged. This perspective moves you from victim to creator. The weight doesn't change, but your relationship to it is revolutionized. It is no longer an affliction, but an opportunity. This wisdom, passed down from the ancient Stoics, feels as alive today as it did 2 millennia ago, because it speaks to a fundamental human truth. Our power lies not in controlling the world, but in our interpretation of it. The universe will always present us with jagged stones. The question is whether we will curse them or see them as the sacred material from which we will carve our own resilience. To begin this transformation, become an honest accountant of your own burdens. For 1 week, practice this. Every evening, write down one burden that weighed on you. Describe it. How did it feel? What story did you tell yourself about this weight? Then, ask a second, more powerful question. If this burden were a tool, what strength could it build? Could the stress of your job be a tool to forge patience? Could a difficult conversation be a tool to practice courage? This is not about pretending the burden isn't heavy. It is about actively searching for the handle you can use to build yourself up. As you practice this, the feeling of helpless victimhood will begin to dissolve, replaced by a nascent sense of curiosity and power. You will stop seeing yourself as a passive recipient of fate and start seeing yourself as an apprentice in the workshop of life. The burdens will still be there, but they will no longer define you. Instead, you will begin to define them. This is the key that unlocks the door to inner freedom, moving you from passive endurance to active, purposeful engagement with your life. This is just the first step. Understanding your burdens is foundational, but it is the choice to consciously lift them that ignites your will. In our next lesson, we will explore what it means to truly choose your fate. Before we move on, take a moment to reflect. Share in the comments below one burden you are ready to see as a tool. Your journey empowers us all. And if you are ready to continue forging your spirit, be sure to subscribe to Stoic Dominion and like this video. Lesson 2. The choice to shoulder fate. Imagine a ship caught in a ferocious storm. The waves crash, the wind tears at the sails, and the sky is chaos. The passive sailor is thrown about, a prisoner of the tempest, praying for it to end. But now, picture the captain at the helm. The storm is the same, yet the captain stands firm, hands gripping the wheel with purpose. They are not reacting to the storm. They are navigating through it. The captain has made a choice. They have accepted the reality of the sea and have chosen to shoulder the fate of the ship. This is the monumental difference between enduring and embracing. This leads to a profound inner conflict. We feel adrift in our lives, tossed about by events we didn't ask for. The problem is that we often confuse acceptance with resignation. We believe that to accept our fate is to give up, to become passive. This misunderstanding traps us in quiet desperation, where we feel powerless and resentful. We resent the storm for existing and ourselves for being unable to calm it. This internal war against reality is exhausting and drains our spirit. The transformative solution is to understand and practice what the Stoics called amor fati, a love of fate. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, powerful, and courageous choice to not only accept, but to love everything that happens in your life. It is the decision to see every event, whether you judge it good or bad, as a necessary part of your journey. It is to look at the storm and say, yes, this is what I need. This is the very thing that will make me who I am meant to be. The core idea is that there are no wrong turns in life. To love your fate is to trust that the tapestry of your life is being woven perfectly, even if you can only see a tangle of chaotic threads. This perspective ends the inner war. This ancient wisdom offers a profound antidote to modern anxiety. Amor fati does not ask you to pretend that pain isn't painful. It asks you to see these experiences as integral, as the very chisels that are sculpting you. It invites you to believe that the universe is not happening to you, but for you. When you truly embrace this, you unlock a new level of freedom. The energy you wasted on resistance is now available for you to use in the present, to steer your ship with all your might, to begin shouldering your fate with love. Practice a new form of inner dialogue. Pay close attention to the moments when you find yourself thinking, this shouldn't be happening. These are the signatures of resistance. The moment you catch one, pause, take a breath, then introduce a new phrase, silently or aloud. This is my path, or I choose this, or simply amor fati. At first, it may feel artificial, but you are not trying to erase the feeling. You are planting a new seed of thought next to it. You are practicing the choice to see it differently. As you consistently apply this reframing, you will forge a new neural pathway. The habit of resistance will weaken, and the muscle of acceptance will grow. A small space of peace will open up within you, created by your choice. You are no longer being dragged by fate. You are learning to dance with it. The storms of life will not cease, but you will meet them with a newfound purpose. You are becoming the captain. The choice to love your fate is the foundation upon which a resilient will is built. Once you stop fighting the sea, you can strengthen your vessel. In our next lesson, we will delve into the forge of the soul. If this idea of choosing your path resonates with you, let us know in the comments what storm you are choosing to navigate. Please remember to subscribe to Stoic Dominion and turn on notifications. Lesson 3. The forging of a Stoic will. Imagine a blacksmith's forge. A piece of raw, unformed iron, on its own, is brittle and of little use. But the blacksmith does not protect it. Instead, they subject it to intense pressure. It is thrust into the fire, heated until it glows, then hammered upon the anvil with powerful blows. It is plunged into cold water, the shock transforming its very structure. This violent process is not destructive, it is creative. The iron is not being punished, it is being transformed into steel. Your will is that piece of iron. The inner conflict we face is that we instinctively protect our will from discomfort. We live in a culture that champions ease. We believe a strong will is one that is never tested. The moment we feel the heat of adversity or the hammer of a setback, we retreat. We treat our will like fragile glass when it is iron begging to be forged. This misunderstanding keeps our will soft and unreliable, ready to shatter under real pressure, leaving us feeling weak and defeated. The transformative solution is to consciously embrace voluntary hardship. You must stop running from pressure and see it as the essential ingredient for an unbreakable will. The blacksmith knows fire and hammer are not enemies of the iron, but its greatest allies. The core idea is that your will does not grow in comfort. It grows when you demand more of it. It strengthens when you intentionally step outside your comfort zone. This is not self-punishment, it is self-creation. The strength you seek is found not in avoiding difficulty, but in overcoming it. You must become the blacksmith of your own soul. This ancient practice of self-forging is the heart of Stoic training. The great Stoics knew that a will that has only known comfort cannot be trusted in a crisis. They intentionally practiced sleeping on hard floors and eating simple food to temper their spirits. They were not seeking misery, they were cultivating resilience. They were turning brittle iron into steel, capable of bending without breaking. To begin forging your own Stoic will, start with small, deliberate acts of voluntary discomfort. Choose one area where you consistently seek comfort, and for 1 week, introduce a manageable hardship. If you always take a hot shower, end with 30 seconds of cold water. If you always take the elevator, take the stairs. As you do this, observe your mind's reaction. It will scream for comfort and produce a torrent of excuses. Your job is not to silence that voice, but to override it. Let it complain while your body follows your willed command. This is where the forging happens. You are teaching your will that it is in charge, not your fleeting desires. You are proving to yourself that you can endure discomfort. Each time you choose the stairs or endure the cold, you land a deliberate hammer blow on the anvil of your will. As you practice this, you will build what the Stoics called a fortress of the mind. Your baseline for what you consider hard will shift. You will develop a quiet confidence, not in your ability to avoid problems, but in your ability to handle them. You are no longer brittle iron, but tempered steel, strong, flexible, and resilient. Forging a strong will is the engine of your transformation. But even the strongest engine needs a solid chassis. In our next lesson, we will discover how to find your center of inner gravity. If you have committed to forging your will, share one small voluntary hardship you will practice this week in the comments below. And remember to subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 4. Your center of inner gravity. Imagine a magnificent ancient tree on a windswept hill. Storms have raged against it for centuries, yet the trunk remains firm, solid, and deeply rooted. The tree's secret is not in its branches, which dance with the weather, but in its core, its unseen connection to the ground. It possesses a center of gravity that anchors it, allowing it to yield without breaking. Within you, there exists the potential for such a center. The inner conflict we face is that we live our lives in the swaying branches. We identify with our fleeting emotions and chaotic thoughts. Our sense of self is tied to the ever-changing weather of our external circumstances. When someone praises us, our branches reach for the sun. When someone criticizes us, they whip violently in the wind. This is an exhausting and precarious way to live. We feel perpetually unstable, lacking an internal anchor. We have forgotten the existence of our own trunk. The transformative solution is to embark on an inner journey to locate and cultivate your center of inner gravity. This is your core of being, the part of you separate from your thoughts and emotions. The Stoics referred to this as the hegemonikon, or the ruling faculty of the mind, the still, observant consciousness that chooses how to respond. The core idea is that you are not the storm or the swaying branches. You are the tree. You are the silent presence that witnesses the weather of your life without being defined by it. Discovering this center is like finding a quiet room in the middle of a raging party. This journey inward is the ultimate form of self-mastery. In a world that constantly pulls our attention outward, the act of turning your focus inward is a revolutionary act. True power and stability are not found by controlling the weather, but by deepening your roots. When you can access this inner center, the chaos of the world loses its power to uproot you. You can experience sadness without becoming sadness. You can feel the wind in your branches, but remain firmly grounded in the quiet strength of your trunk. To begin this journey, practice the art of strategic withdrawal. Create moments of sanctuary throughout your day. Set a timer on your phone for 3 random times. When it goes off, stop for just 60 seconds. Close your eyes. First, notice the weather. What is the emotional climate right now? Just observe it. Second, shift your attention from the weather to the sky. Imagine your consciousness as the vast open sky and your thoughts and emotions as clouds passing through it. The sky remains unchanged behind them. Your goal in this minute is to identify with the sky, not the clouds. Feel the spaciousness within you, the part of you that is simply aware. This is your center of gravity. Each time you consciously shift your identification from the passing thought to the observing awareness, you are deepening your roots. The profound benefit of this practice is the cultivation of equanimity. You will begin to move through life with a groundedness that others will notice. You have discovered your own center of inner gravity. Finding your center of gravity is discovering the foundation. Now, we must build upon it. In our next lesson, we will explore the practical architecture of resilience. If you are committed to finding your inner anchor, comment "I am the tree" below. Please help our community grow by subscribing to Stoic Dominion and sharing this video. Lesson 5. Building the Unshakable Core. Imagine an architect building a fortress on a mountain pass, a place known for brutal winds. The architect knows its true strength will come from its core. It must be built with deep foundations and reinforcing structures designed to absorb and redistribute stress. The fortress is not rigid. It is resilient. Your inner self is that fortress, and you are its architect. Our inner conflict is that we often focus on the facade of strength. We learn to project an image of confidence, building walls of achievement and status. But behind these walls, our inner structure can be hollow. When a real crisis hits, a profound failure, a deep betrayal, our walls crumble. We are left feeling exposed and structurally unsound. The problem is that we built a movie set instead of a fortress. The transformative solution is to become a conscious architect of your inner world, focusing on constructing an unshakable core. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a structure you build. This structure has key components: a foundation of clear principles, pillars of virtuous habits, and a keystone of self-awareness. It means engaging in the deliberate work of reinforcing your mind against life's tremors. This approach, rooted in Stoic practice, is about creating an internal system so robust that external events lose their power to cause a structural failure. It's the understanding that while you cannot stop the earthquakes, you can build a self that is earthquake-proof. This isn't about being emotionless. The fortress still feels the tremors, but its foundations are so deep that the shaking does not lead to collapse. Instead, the energy is absorbed and the structure stands firm. To begin construction, you must lay the foundation, your personal principles. These are the non-negotiable values that guide your actions. For 1 week, become a philosopher of your own life. Ask yourself, what are the most important virtues I want to live by? Honesty, courage, compassion, discipline, kindness, justice. There are no right answers, only your answers. Define what each means to you in practical terms. This document is the blueprint for your fortress. Next, build the pillars of virtuous habits. Choose one of your principles and design one small daily action that reinforces it. If your principle is compassion, your action might be to send one supportive text message each day. If it's discipline, wake up 15 minutes earlier to read. This is the act of laying bricks. Over time, these small actions build powerful pillars of character. You are turning abstract ideals into a tangible, internal structure. The profound benefit of this work is the development of unshakable self-respect. Your confidence will no longer depend on external validation because you are building its source from within. You will know what you stand for because you are actively standing for it. When the ground shakes, you will not panic because you will trust the integrity of the structure you have built. You have laid the foundation and built the pillars, but a fortress must be defended. In our next lesson, we will learn the art of standing unmoved. To solidify your commitment, declare in the comments, "I am the architect." And if you are finding value in this process, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 6. The art of standing unmoved. Imagine a sentinel, a lone guard on a castle wall at midnight. Below, shadows move and whispers are carried on the wind. The untrained guard would be a wreck, sounding the alarm at every rustle of leaves. But the veteran sentinel stands unmoved. Their gaze is calm, ready. They have learned discernment, knowing the difference between a real threat and a phantom of the mind. They observe, assess, and act only when necessary. This sentinel is your rational mind. Our crippling inner conflict is that we are the untrained guard. We react to everything. An unpleasant email triggers anxiety. A worry about the future sends us into a panic. We live in a state of constant, low-grade emergency, wasting our resources on phantom threats. The problem is not the existence of shadows, but our inability to distinguish them from an invading army. We have not mastered the art of standing unmoved. The transformative solution is to cultivate the skill of the Stoic sentinel through a practice called prosouche, or attentive mindfulness. It is the practice of constantly monitoring your own thoughts and impressions, treating them not as truths, but as incoming reports to be verified. The core idea is that between an external event and your emotional response, there is a space. In that space lies your power. It is the moment where the sentinel sees the shadow and instead of sounding the alarm pauses and asks, "What is this, really? Is this in my control?" By creating this space, you interrupt the knee-jerk reaction and engage your reason. This ancient art is more crucial now than ever. We are bombarded with signals designed to provoke an immediate emotional reaction. To practice prosouche is to reclaim your sovereignty. You are not trying to stop the world from sending you signals. You are training yourself to be a masterful gatekeeper. You learn to let harmless messengers pass and challenge suspicious ones, preserving your peace. To begin your training, practice the pause and challenge technique. The moment you feel a strong negative emotion rising, anger, fear, irritation, your first duty is to pause. Do not act. In that pause, challenge the impression. Ask yourself, an impression has come to me. Is it based on fact or on my own story? Then ask the most important Stoic question. Is this within my control? For instance, if a coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment, you will feel anger rise. Pause. Challenge it. The impression is that you have been disrespected. But is that a fact or your interpretation? Is their mood within your control? No. Is your response? Yes. By running the impression through this logical filter, you disarm it. You can then choose to respond with grace or not at all. You have stood unmoved. The incredible benefit of this practice is a profound sense of calm and control. The world will continue to be chaotic, but it will lose its power to jerk you around. You will stop wasting energy on pointless skirmishes, saving your strength for battles that matter. You are no longer the frightened, reactive guard, but the wise and vigilant sentinel, master of your own inner kingdom. You have learned to build your fortress and guard its walls. The final step is to understand the nature of the sovereign who rules this kingdom. In our final lesson, we will explore the unconquered soul. Before we continue, share in the comments one phantom threat you disarmed this week. As always, your engagement builds this community. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 7. Dominion of the Unconquered Soul. Imagine a diamond held deep within the Earth's crust. It is subjected to unimaginable pressure and scorching heat. Forces that would pulverize lesser stones are constantly pressing in on it. Yet the diamond does not break. It does not yield. Its core, its essential nature remains untouched, perfect, and brilliant. This diamond is your soul, your core consciousness. The Stoics called this the logos, the spark of divine reason within you. The final and most profound inner conflict we face is the deep-seated fear of being broken. We fear failure, rejection, loss, and death. At the root of these fears is the belief that external events can damage our essential self. This fear makes us timid. We live in a self-imposed prison of caution, afraid to truly live because we are terrified of being fundamentally broken. We have forgotten that we are the diamond. The ultimate transformative solution offered by Stoicism is the full realization of your soul's invulnerability. It is the deep understanding that nothing external can ever touch, harm, or diminish your core self. Your body can be harmed, your reputation tarnished, your possessions taken. These things are subject to the chaos of fate, but your soul, your ability to reason and choose, this inner citadel, is inviolable. The core idea is that your true self exists in your choices, not in your circumstances. The power to choose can never be taken from you. This is the ultimate freedom. This is the source of all true courage. When you know, with absolute certainty, that your essence cannot be harmed, fear loses its grip. What is there to be afraid of? Failure becomes data. Rejection becomes redirection. Loss becomes a lesson. This is what allowed the great Stoics to face death with serene composure. They understood that while their captors controlled their bodies, their souls remained their own sovereign territory. To begin to feel the dominion of your own soul, practice a meditation on the indestructible self. This is not positive thinking, it is logical deduction. Find a quiet time and sit with this thought experiment. Bring to mind something you fear losing, your job, for example. Imagine in vivid detail that you are fired. Feel the initial shock and fear. Now ask yourself, in this scenario, have I lost my ability to be courageous? Have I lost my ability to be honest or kind? Has my core capacity for reason and choice been taken from me? The answer is always no. Your circumstances have changed, but your soul remains intact. Repeat this exercise with your deepest fears. In every scenario, go past the initial pain and locate the inner citadel. See that your character, your virtue, and your will remain your own. This is not an easy practice. But each time you do it, you are grounding your sense of self in the indestructible reality of your inner dominion. You are teaching yourself, on a profound level, that you are safe, not because the world is safe, but because you are fundamentally unbreakable. The benefit of this realization is the dawn of true fearlessness. You can engage with life fully, knowing that your core is secure. You have traveled from understanding your burdens to claiming your unconquered soul. You have learned that the weight of life is raw material, that your will is a fire to be forged, and that your core is a fortress of your own making. You now hold the keys to an unshakable inner peace. Thank you for dedicating your time and attention to this journey with us. The path of the Stoic is one of continuous practice, and your presence here makes our shared mission stronger. If this video has provided you with value, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue forging your resilient spirit.